Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I have an Almont Rekey. I got this lock from Kavaki Karma in a trade. I got it the other day, and it came with this wire to do a repin. I went ahead and went to CLK Supplies and got the tool for this. It comes with a wire that secures on the back, and it also comes with a couple other pieces here. This piece would be when you're pinning the new key, you can slide this over the core with the key and make sure that everything goes in, and make sure that the key isn't, don't have any pins too high. So the way this, it works like a regular lock, but you'll see that there's a channel here on the top of this core. This key will never allow that channel to get to the top. There's a pin on the side of the body that is poking into the core, and there's a channel that pin can freely move. The core can freely move around that pin. That pin is right about there. This notch is so that the key, so what normally happens is when you turn the key, that pin runs into the key and it can't turn any further. But this key, it can get by the pin, and then this can come to the top. I'm not going to put it all the way to the top because those pins can fall into that channel, then I got to try to get them out. So I don't want to mess with, I haven't done it, I don't want to deal with that. So you can use the key to open it, or if you wanted to, you can pick it. And since this channel is about lock picking, let's go ahead and pick this lock. They are all standard pins. It's not a difficult pick. There we go. Set the pick aside. And the lock opens. So I'm going to go ahead and put this wire in. And then use the turning tool and get that up to the top. And then secure the wire on the end. So the wire secures into the lock itself up here. So theoretically, this wire is, I'm sure you've seen the core of a lock before. It's just going across the top of the pins and holding the pins and the springs into the body. So as soon as I start to pull the core up, the shackle's going to drop out and everything. So if I were just going to repin, I could leave that there. There we go. I could leave the wire in. So I could then just repin this and then start to reassemble. I am going to leave the key pins in. It is a Schlage keyway, but so I'm going to take the top pins out because I want to show how this loader works. So I've watched a couple of videos on it and I just barely bumped that wire and pins started to come shooting out. So if you want to see one that has everything just exploding, you can go watch Bosnian Bill's video. Bosnian Bill, when I watched that one, he just had a piece of wire like this, and then he's trying to push it down, and he's trying to, keep everything underneath there, and he didn't have this loader, so he's trying to get the pins under there and everything. It's not easy that way. So like I said, I went to CLK Supplies and got the actual kit to load it. And since I kind of did a speed gutting, let me get the springs back in here. So it's, what I was talking about earlier on the side of the core, this is the channel where that wire was at. This is the channel right here where that pin on the side can freely move. When the key is in the keyway, it doesn't allow that pin to go all the way down. The key stops it. So that's why this key then allows it to go all the way to 90 degrees so that that piece can come out. Our pin that I'm talking about is on the side of the body here. Oh, I'm not even in the camera. So it's right here along the side. Make sure I got. So it's on the right side. The springs are down through the middle. And then you might have seen the other ball bearing for the other side of the lock. It stays into the lock. So let me do a little bit better explanation of this. So this channel. So when the key is here, you can see that channel stops and the key blocks it. But if I have the gutting key, it doesn't take up that full width on the bottom, and then the pin can slide all the way into that keyway, and then that allows the core to come out and everything to be gutted. All right. So there's a bit of a balancing act here with this. So all the springs are in there. And then what I want to do is take this wire and get it down to the bottom. And I'm just going to lay it across the top of the springs. Try to lay it across the top of the springs. And what I want to do is hold. He just does not want to go to his home. Don't you like your home? Lively little fellow. Oh, I just touched it and he jumped out again. Okay. So put the wire down into the bottom. Lay it across the top of the springs. And then hook it on the bottom. And make sure they're all trapped. So just wrapped it and hooked it on the bottom. Set this part aside. Now we're going to load up our little top pin shuttle here. Okay. So all of our top pins are loaded. Now there's the channel where the top pins are, and there's a channel off to the side. We're going to line that wire up with that channel on the side. Then we remove the pin, and now all the springs just push down into this. So it's pretty much in there now. So now I got to get the top pins and the springs up in there. So this piece with the wedge on it goes down through that slot. And I just pull out just a little bit on that core, and then it allows the pins to line up and then they go up. So it takes a little bit of kind of wiggling to get that to go in. And I'm going to line that channel up again. And once again, I'm holding my top pins with the wire. So I'm going to pull it out carefully, holding the wire the whole time. I don't want that wire to spring free. And then if I'm careful, all the top pins are being trapped by that wire. All right. Now, I'm going to put the spring in the other side. We're going to put the shackle into place, and we're going to drop the bearing down in there. And now we take our core with our key pins still in it, get them on the channel, the wire onto the channel, and we push it all the way in. Now, the bearing is into its space, so the shackle is being held in. We don't have to worry about that. We want to hold this piece, undo the wire, and then take the wire out. Now we close the shackle. And we hold our breath as we lock it back up. I just heard all the pins drop. So now, since we didn't move any of the key pins, so the key should not have any problem working. That is the Almont Rekey. Some key things to note is that this wire, when it's in there and it's holding those pins, you don't have to touch it by much. You know, you set it down wrong, you bump it, all your pins go flying, and you got to go through the whole process of reloading with this piece. Now, I didn't show this. I have another core here, but when you have the pins loaded, you can slide this over, and then that will, it's a different keyway, but so if I had pins in it and I had the key in, they would all be hopefully at the shear line. If any of them were too high, this would tell me that they were too high. This carrier is 6-pin, but my lock is only 5-pin. The core is 5 holes, the body is 5 holes. It will not do 6, but this loader from CLK, it does do 6 pins. So if you're going to do a lot of Almont rekeying, this is a good thing to have. For me, it's good to have it even for this one time that I'm doing it, because I've watched videos with this wire and the balancing act that people have to do to get them in. Yeah, I'd go nuts. So I'm glad I had the kit. So if you ever have one of these and you want to take them apart, be aware that it can get messy. And just because we got it back together, let's do, I like this lock. It's an easy pick, but it's just fun, you know, to do a pick. So let's do one more pick here at the end, since we started with a pick. Let's end with a pick. There we go. That is the Almont Rekey. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great rest of your day.